hazardous. She's only 17, made us curious. It was a carefree time. How about we jump back and rewind? We were living on Winger and a prayer, just garbage pail kids with mullets and big hair. Let's open up another pack. Gen X wants their future back. Break out the denim jackets with faded band patches. Share memories, Polaroid captured. It's the Gen X marks the spot podcast.
Welcome to the show. The amps are up, the mic is on. It's Gen X Joe right here in the Wherever I May Roam studio with Gen X Marks the Spot podcast. Before we go on, I just got to say my apologies. I'm a little under the weather. I'm sounding like shit, looking like shit, so I guess nothing's new, right? Anyway, my guest today is Mike Fitz, founding member and guitarist of a band that had me saying I do the moment I heard their name. The band is called Bad Marriage. And look, as someone who has been married happily for 22 years, that name hit a little close to home. My wife, she's probably thinking, what the hell, dude? But listen, I swear, my wife, our relationship had nothing to do with me booking this interview. Probably. Anywho, here's what really got me. Not only is the band called Bad Marriage, but their brand new single is called Match Made in Hell. They dropped that shit on Valentine's Day. Freaking Valentine's Day. Now that is a glorious, bold power move in the history of rock and roll. And I am completely down with that. Oh, little side note here. One of their key members of the band is none other than Tommy Skeoch, formerly of Tesla. You may have heard of that band. Hey, he's rock royalty. Apparently even legends cannot resist a bad marriage. And one last thing before we get into the interview with Mike Fitz of Bad Marriage. This is the only negative thing that I could find regarding the band. Well, not so much the band, but Mike himself. He's from Boston, and he let it be known to me that he was a New England Patriots fan. On the flip side, he married a Pittsburgh girl. So, Mike, I know, even though you and I went back and forth a little bit about the Steelers and the Patriots, you know, and I know, the key to a good marriage is agreeing with your wife in the end. And that's why I'm happily married for 22 years. Here is my interview with Mike Fitz, a newly crowned Pittsburgh Steelers fan of the band Bad Marriage. Mike, hey, thank you so much for joining me today on the Gen X Marks the Spot podcast.
Hell yeah, buddy. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm glad we could make it happen.
Bad Marriage is a band that kind of just snuck up on me here in the last several months. And I see bands, honestly, sometimes I forget about them, but
Right.
Your band captured me from moment one.
That's music to my ears, because that's what we try to do. We put a lot of work into everything, and just try to be the best band we can. We work very hard, whether it's, traveling the country, endless miles playing for rock and roll and metal fans, or whether it's we practice every week, and we just put a lot of love into the band, and to see it translate like that with you finding us and really digging us, it means a lot. And it also means we're doing some things that are right. So it wants us to keep going, that sort of fuel.
Absolutely. And you guys are out of Boston. You guys are kind of like the new bad boys of Boston, if you know what I mean.
People have referenced that before, and I just got to laugh, just because Aerosmith to me is like, we all grew up, anyone from Massachusetts or the New England area, just, and you like rock and roll. I mean, you idolize Aerosmith. I mean, they were everything and then some for rock and roll fans. And so for us to even be in a conversation is just, it's mind blowing, but it's a little comical because, it's just, those are people you look up to. And so it's an amazing feeling.
And one thing I wanted to add, and I probably should have said this before I complimented you guys, but you're not a fly by night band either. You guys have been around. What, this is going into your 11th year now?
Yeah, yeah, you do your homework, which I like that. Yeah, you're right. This is 10 plus years. We kind of started, forming it and developing our sound around 2015. We might have played a handful of shows in 2015, but I think 16, 17 were when we really started getting rolling around the Boston area, like you mentioned. We were rehearsing in Boston, so I was living there for a while. So we really tapped into the Boston market, the Worcester. These are all Massachusetts areas. And then Rhode Island and New Hampshire and Maine, and we just started branching out until we started doing some touring, and we just haven't looked back. We've been pounding the concrete, as they say.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, man. And you are definitely keeping rock alive.
Someone's got to do it, and it's all we know. We love what we do. We're just doing what we love and trying to carry the torch for rock and roll, and we hope other bands do the same, and we're just doing our thing.
Over the last 11 years, you guys have released 2 full-length albums and an EP, but now you guys got your third full-length coming out, A Match Made in Hell. It's so synonymous with your name, Bad Marriage.
Yeah, it's funny now that song, that single that we just released. Obviously, it's the title track to the new album, which is coming out soon, March 13th. I think it's going to be everywhere. But yeah, so on Valentine's Day, we thought it'd be a cool idea to release the title track, "Match Made in Hell," along with a video for it. Long story short, that the single "Match Made in Hell," we've been playing it for a while. Um, God, I think we first debuted that song, a few years ago when we were just kind of messing around with it. We knew we loved the song, so we threw it into our live set for a while, and people were coming up to us and saying, "Hey, man, that Match Made in Hell song you did, we really like that." So we knew we were onto something. And then we had Tommy Skio from Tesla. Obviously, he's an original member of Tesla. He was in Tesla for 20 plus years. He's just a complete monster on the guitar. I can't say enough about him, but when he joined the band, we had already had Match Made in Hell pretty much recorded. And then we went back into it and he did a lot of cool stuff on it. So it revived and revamped that whole song for us. And here we are today. We just released a video and yeah, we're digging that song, man.
Well, I watched the video, and the feel of the video, the shots, the angles of the camera. I mean, it's nonstop. It's just not, you guys standing there like the grunge era. I mean, this is hardcore rock video that takes you back to the late 80s and early 90s. And so does the sound of the song.
Yeah, man, I agree. I mean, the video is super energetic. It's fun. We want all of our stuff to just be it's got to be pleasing to the ear, but also to the eye, and I got to give a lot of credit to our video guy, Jim Foster. I mean, he's been with us since day one. He's like a big brother to me, and he's helped me in a lot of ways. And he's just an all around talented dude. I mean, he's done videos for Godsmack and Daughtry, and he's done a lot of crazy stuff. So having him on our team is really cool. And he's the one who made that video come to fruition, and he's the mastermind behind all that, making it look cool and the way he shot it and everything. So again, we're happy to have him on our team.
So yeah, man, that video totally just captivated me. And I was like showing my oldest son, he's 18. And I was like, dude, you have to check the video out, because he is really into the hard rock and heavy metal. And that's my own influence. But hey, what can I say?
Yeah.
And he really dug it as well, man. He did.
Awesome. Look, again, that's what we can hope for, is just sharing it, to people. And number one, you have to have a product that people like. You liked it. You were excited about showing somebody, and that's all we can hope for, dude. So trust me, it's a good feeling. So you know, I'm very happy with that stuff and hearing that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we need bands like Bad Marriage, like you said earlier, to carry that torch of the 80s and 90s and hard rock and bring your own little sound and twist to the music.
Yeah, I agree, and that's another big goal of mine from the start is to develop our own sound, but still have that. You know, we want to sound modern and fresh, but we still want people to enjoy it because it reminds them of stuff that they used to listen to, you know. But so it's a fine line. We don't want to sound too much like you know, another band, but but we still want to have that element to us. And I think we've accomplished that. I think Bad Marriage has a sound. And you know, that's what I'm truly happy about is you know, all of my favorite bands have a sound. You know who they are when you hear the first guitar riff or the first time the vocal hits and you're like, oh yeah, that's so and so. So you know, that's always been a goal of mine.
Well, you nailed it, man. So you guys are working with Ron Keel as well with the RFK Media. How is it working with Ron? I mean, he's a legend in himself as well.
Dude, he's a great guy, and his work ethic is what sold me on his newer record label, RFK Media. You know, we were in talks for a while before. We didn't just like, you know, jump at a record deal or anything. And, you know, for a while we were kind of against that kind of stuff. We're like, we can do all this by ourselves. And we were proving to do a lot of it by ourselves. You know, we were getting on some big tours. We were doing some big things, but, you know, I was always open to it. So we ended up having some great conversations. He's a big fan of the band, and I think and he really believes in us. And I think that's the most important. When you have people on your team that actually really like the band and the sound, and you know, that goes a long way. So yeah, we hope it's going to be a good marriage with Ron and company. And so far, it's been great.
Hey, I love how you just tied that in right there.
It's
So,
funny.
so speaking of marriage, I have to know. It's the stupidest question anybody could ask somebody in a band about the name, but
Yeah,
how and why did you come up with the name Bad Marriage?
it's so funny. You know, I kind of wish it was like a better story about it, but it's basically I mean, I thought of it when I was first trying to put this band together. You know, obviously you get a couple guys in mind and you're like, what are we going to call this thing, you know? And honestly, it just hit me one day, and I base it on not about an actual marriage, you know, husband and wife or whatever, significant other. It's more of it came to me about how hard it is to be in a band and be in a successful band with longevity. So you got to think of stuff like, so say let's use our scenario where you have five guys, right? There's five guys in our band right now. Everybody has their own shit, whether they're married, whether they have kids, whether they have a full-time job, whether they don't have a job, whether they have a house, a mortgage, you know, there's so much stuff, and that's five people. So trying to get five people aligned with the same goals is just not an easy thing to do. And it sounds good on paper. Everyone's excited to be in a band, but at the end of the day, it's very hard to keep going and keeping everybody on the same page with the same goals. And you know, we've been fortunate to do that for the most part. For yeah, like you said, almost 11 years. So. But yeah, being in a band with a bunch of people is like being in it can be like being in a bad marriage because you know, you got to, instead of having this one significant other that, you know, you try to make that relationship work, you have five people and their significant others and their lives and their jobs. It's just it's hard to do.
No doubt about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So I thought Bad Marriage was a cool name. I thought it had a ring to it. It's easy to say. I think that people can relate to it, you know, outside of the music. You know, we have people that come up to our merch table and they're like, "Hey, man, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys tonight. But either way, I want to buy a shirt because I've been through a bad marriage." And it's just we have a chuckle over it, and it's a good laugh. But you know, it's cool when you can have a branding like that to a name too. So it's definitely helped us out. Badmarriagemusic.com totally is up. I mean, we've been getting orders over the past, you know, because of this new video that dropped. We see people buying the vinyls and the CDs, and so I'll send you a link when we get off, and you can poke around in there, and maybe you'll find some. Or like, yeah, if you come out to see us, we'll have plenty of stuff there too.
Well, speaking of coming out to see you next week, February 26th, and I, you are going to be at the Craft House in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. We love that place. We try and play there at least once a year. They've been pretty receptive to us, and again, we're trying to build a following there. So, if people come out, we super appreciate it. And hopefully they keep asking us back, and hopefully we can start packing that place, and build a following there, because it's, there's a lot of places that aren't around anymore. So any place that still wants to have rock and roll and metal, my hat goes off to them, and just giving us an outlet to play. We do have some things in the works for the rest of this year. I just, I can't. I'd hate for it to fall through, and that, for me to say something now and then for it to fall
Mhm.
through. So, I have to be careful about that stuff. So we do have some stuff in the works until it gets kind of signed on the dotted line, etched in stone kind of thing. But we do plan to be busy. So, and I hope we can announce some of that stuff sooner than later. But, we're just going to keep going no matter what.
I feel you on that, but Monsters on the Mountain, you guys are playing that?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's already, yeah. That's going to be in August. That is amazing festival, Gatlinburg, Tennessee, in the Smoky Mountains. I think it's a 3-day festival this year. We've played it. This will be our third one. It's just, it's hard to put into words what a great community it is. It's a spin-off of the um, Monsters of Rock cruise that they do every year. So Bad Marriage has played 2 of those cruises, which are just amazing experiences. Then they recently started the Monsters on the Mountain. So it's a kind of the same sort of festival, but on land, right? Not on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
And it's mostly the same network of just amazing people that love rock and roll, and just, we're all like-minded. Everyone's cool, and it's just a a crazy 3 days of just great music and great people. So yeah, that's going to be fun.
Man,
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
man, I always wanted to go to that, but never got the opportunity. I'm a little jealous, but hey, man, I'll tell you what, I've have a neighbor that actually has gone to one of them, and he has told me that it's like nothing I have ever encountered in my life. So,
Yeah, yeah. It's just good people, and then you're hearing some of all your favorite bands that you grew up with, plus new bands like us, and we've had a great response. I mean, a lot of the bands, again, are already, big and famous, and so we're a newcomer, but they embrace us really well, which we're thankful for.
well, speaking of big and famous, you briefly mentioned Tommy a little while ago. I'm so curious, how did he come into the fold of Bad Marriage?
Yeah, Tommy. Again, Tommy Skio, original member, one of the founding members of the band Tesla, from Sacramento, California. Um, Bad Marriage was doing a lot of touring with Tesla around the 2018, 19, 20, like those 3 years. We were doing a lot of tours with them. Now, the important thing is Tommy hasn't been in Tesla for, I'd say, around like 2008. So he's been out of Tesla, for that long. Um, so we were touring with Tesla, and we didn't know Tommy. So that's just crazy. The whole like circle that's come like full circle with that band. So I brought up the Monsters of Rock cruise. Bad Marriage was playing one of the cruises a few years ago, and Tommy was on the cruise because he was in another band at the time. And I just went up to him and shook his hand. I said, "Hey, man, I play in Bad Marriage." He's like, "Oh, I know who you are. Or I just saw you guys play on the cruise." He's like, "You guys are awesome." And so we just started shooting the shit. And we became buddies. And he knew very well that we were really tight with his old band. He knew we were touring with Tesla a lot. And he didn't care. He still was, really receptive to me. And we became boys. And, you know, uh, that's just kind of how it ended up. And um, I had posted a riff on Facebook, one of my guitar riffs, and I just was kind of just posting it on my own page saying, hey, this is something new I came up with. And he hit me up saying, dude, I love that. And I said, dude, let's write something up, so he wrote a part to that part. And then he came on tour with us as a third guitar player and for a month. And it was amazing. And he's been here with us since.
That's an awesome story.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. Well, I know he's keeping busy too, not only with Bad Marriage, but from what I understand, he's working with Brian Weed of Tesla, Chris Holmes, and Josie Scott.
Yeah, that's super interesting too. I think that's going to kick ass. And I'm really close with Brian, and I'm just looking forward to see what they come up with. And I think it'll help us too. Keeping Tommy active is great, and rekindling the old flame with Brian, I think that's badass too. So yeah, I'm excited for that release.
Yeah, and that band's going to be called Terminal.
Yeah. It's going to
Yeah.
be fun.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. And you know what? I'm really happy to see Tommy back on the scene.
Totally, man. Me too. Me too. And I know he's happy. And I'm pretty close with him, man. I talk to him every single day, multiple times a day, and the guy's just about rock and roll. And he, at this stage of his career, he just wants a guitar in his hands, and he wants to rock with his buddies, and that's what he's doing, and he's happy.
You couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, totally. He's another guy. We're just happy that he's part of our team, and we're gonna just try to write some kick-ass music and just go from there.
Your lead singer, Johnny P, man, what a voice he has, man. I mean, he just fits the sound also that the band's trying to project.
Yeah, Johnny P is an anomaly. I like to think he's an alien. But no, I love Johnny P, and I've known him. I'd known him from the kind of the Boston, New England rock and roll scene growing up. He was in another band. He was actually used to be in a band with our drummer. And I was in a different band at the time, and we would play together sometimes. And I always used to listen to him and go, "Wow, man, he's got some serious pipes." And he's my type of singer for the stuff that I wanted to be doing. So it's just cool that when I was forming Bad Marriage, I convinced him, to convince him to come on board. And again, he's one that's still with us today. So we're psyched to have him still on board. So we're doing our thing, and Johnny P is a big piece of the pie. I kind of had my eye on people throughout the years. I was at a point where I was like, you know what, I want to start one more rock band. A band of mine had just broke up, and I was bummed about that, but it also fueled me to take whatever I learned from that band and use it to start another one. And first thing I did was ask my drummer, because me and him have been playing together. We grew up in the same town, so we've been playing together on and off since like late 90s. So it's been almost 30 years I've been jamming with him. So I got him on board first, and then and then the others fell into place. I mean, I had them in my mind, just cool dudes throughout the scene, growing up, and so I kind of handpicked them all, and yeah.
Nice, man.
It worked out. Yep. I'll be on my way shortly, but it was a good time. I'm glad we did this.
Real quick, I have
Yep.
to say, I'm sorry, but not sorry. The Patriots lost the Super Bowl.
I feel you, and I look. I married a Pittsburgh Steeler fan. She's from Pittsburgh,
Oh,
so I look. That's what I have to deal with, and I will say we've been together a long time, so I've actually been to Heinz Field a couple times with her when the Patriots played, when we still had Brady. Both times I went there, we won. So, that was fun for me. So she can have her fun now. You know what I mean? She did not want us to win that Super Bowl because Pittsburgh has 6 and we have 6.
right.
And Pittsburgh calls it the Stairway to 7. So I've stole that and I've been using it. Patriots have, going for the Stairway to 7. So she was pretty pleased that we didn't win. So I just gotta grin and bear it and deal with it. We had an insane run.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I got to watch 8 or 9 Super Bowls, and you know what I mean, within a span of 20 years. I don't know. It was insane. So there's not much I can say. But you do get used to it. you get used to winning. So when you start not to win, it's we had a couple seasons for the past couple of years that wasn't that great, but just fortunate that we had Brady and Belichick and that kind of 1-2 punch, and what they did was pretty crazy.
And now you got Drake May, man. So I think he's the future right there.
He's looking promising. So we're gonna get behind him, and hopefully we can do some damage.
Well, on a sports level, you and your wife's marriage was made in hell, right?
Correct. Yeah, if you told me 20 years ago you're going to marry a Steelers fan, I would have said no way.
Well, good luck next season with the Patriots as well. I know we got Mike McCarthy. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, who knows, man. I wasn't the biggest Tomlin fan, but that's a different conversation for a different day. I mean, it's so I think Pittsburgh, it's time. I think you needed a change. Whether McCarthy's the guy or not, who knows?
Now, this got me thinking. Bad Marriage is going to be performing live on February 26th at the Kraft House in Pittsburgh. And I am personally extending an invitation to every Pittsburgh Steeler fan out there to show up and show support for Mike. Mike McCarthy, that is. Oh, hell yeah. Sorry, Mike Fitz. But listen, on a serious note, Steelers Nation, grab your jerseys, grab your terrible towels, wave them loud and wave them proud, and show up and support Mike and Bad Marriage at the Kraft House on February 26th. Listen, this is not about a football rivalry. Go because Bad Marriage is a flat-out, kick-ass rock and roll band, and if you love old school rock that's real, loud, and unapologetic, you gotta see Bad Marriage. With the music, opposites can attract. On any given Sunday, screw New England. And besides Pittsburgh, listen, let's show them that Pittsburgh knows how to rock. If you have not heard Bad Marriage's new single, Match Made in Hell.
Match made in hell, we're a match made in hell. Match made in hell, we're a match made in hell.
Go on Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your streaming. Go to their website, check it out. You will not be disappointed. I just want to thank you all for listening. I'm Gen X Joe, and remember, rock loud, live proud. Peace out. Props everyone for listening.